Ravens Rundown is your off-season headquarters with everything you need to know on your favorite team as we tell you what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens when it comes to rookie minicamp, OTAs, counting down to training camp, and more. We'll also have our daily news and rumors as well, all off-season long. The NFL draft may be over, but we're not slowing down, and we want to make sure you're a part of it all. Subscribe now for the latest happenings here on Ravens Rundown. Help us reach our next milestone of 16.5K subs, just less than 250 away from reaching it. Subscribe now, youtube.com/RavensTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Tyler Jones here. Thanks for stopping by as we are talking about Mel Kiper Jr.'s draft grades for your Baltimore Ravens. We'll show you what Mel had to say and react to it coming up in just a moment. Before we do, let's go over the Ravens picks for the 2024 draft class. They include Nate Wiggins, the corner from Clemson in the first round, who Eric DeCosta said he was surprised was still available when the Ravens picked at 30. In round number 2, the Ravens went O-line. That's where they found Roger Rosengarten out of the University of Washington at 62 overall. In round 3, the Ravens go edge rusher as they selected Adisa out of Penn State. And then in round 4, the Ravens grabbed up a receiver, Tez Walker, out of North Carolina. Also in round 4, the Ravens, with one of the biggest steals of the entire draft, selecting T.J. Tampa, the corner out of Iowa State, who some folks had a first-round grade on. Then in round 5, the Ravens got the depth they were looking for in the running back room, adding Rasheen Ali out of Marshall. In round 6, the Ravens found their next backup quarterback to replace Tyler Huntley, Devin Leary, the QB out of the University of Kentucky. And then with their final 2 selections in round 7, the Ravens selected Nick Samak, the center out of Michigan State, and Sanusi Kane, the safety out of Purdue. Overall, Mel ended up giving the Baltimore Ravens a B+ for this year's draft. Going into the draft, Mel believed that the Ravens' biggest needs were at corner, offensive line, and edge rusher. So, according to Mel, the Ravens addressed all of their needs. Here's more from Kiper. Ravens parted ways with a handful of starters from their 13 and 14 team, including guards Kevin Zeitler and John Simpson, right tackle Morgan Moses, defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, cornerback Ronald Darby, and linebacker Patrick Queen. They have a few players from the 2022 and 2023 drafts who could step up as starters this season, but there are big shoes to fill at important positions. So what did GM Eric DeCosta do the first 2 days of this draft? He landed 3 guys in my top 51, all of whom could be big-time rookie contributors and got value with each selection. Mel is right. The Ravens made the most of a tough situation this offseason. You had 20-plus free agents. You couldn't bring everybody back. But credit where credit's due to Eric DeCosta and company for finding value in this draft, for taking care of positional needs, but also getting the best available, mixing and matching when they needed to. I thought it was a very successful draft for Eric DeCosta and company. We'll show you more here in just a bit. Want to hear from you guys. Now you've seen Mel's grade of a B+. What do you think? How would you grade the Ravens draft? It's our pinned comment today. Let us know what you think. A, B, C, D, or F, way in the comment section and let me know. We'll have more from Mel Kiper in just a bit of his reaction to the Ravens selections. But first, I want to tell you about a great deal we're offering Ravens fans. As Nate Wiggins jerseys are on sale now. As you can see, we have all sorts of different options. The home uniform, we also have the road uniform, and a couple different others for you to see for yourself. Men's and women's sizes available. Get yours now. These things are going hot. Chatsports.com/Wiggins is where you can get yours today. The link is in the comments and description of today's video. Get your Nate Wiggins jerseys now, just in time for the NFL season. Chatsports.com/Wiggins. More from Mel. Here's what he had to say on Nate Wiggins. Nate Wiggins is one of the fastest cornerbacks in this class, a long and gifted corner man with good instincts. Though he's a little light at 173, he'll grow into his frame in time. Roger Rosengarten, one of my favorite prospects in the entire draft, could step in and start. And I think that's a great point. When you talk about these two, I think the Ravens found at least two day one starters in Wiggins and Rosengarten. I believe Wiggins is ultimately going to beat out Brandon Stevens for the starting outside corner role opposite of Marlon Humphrey. And I think you're looking at Rosengarten starting at the right tackle position for now, and then eventually, when the Ravens move on from Ronnie Stanley, sliding over to that starting left tackle role. These two are going to be difference makers for the Ravens. Wiggins was a first-team All-ACC selection this past season. Mel had him as the number 4 corner and the number 25 overall player on his big board. So for him to still be around at 30 for Baltimore was pretty dang good. His stats this past season in 10 games played had 6 pass breakups, 2 interceptions, and 29 tackles. While the coverage grades were pretty dang good, if I'd say myself, as he allowed just 18 total completions this year with less than 200 receiving yards allowed, only 1 touchdown, 6 pass breakups, and a QB rating of 44.4. Meanwhile, Roger Rosengarten, a second-round pick, was a second-team All-American selection in 2023. Mel had him as the number 8 offensive tackle, the number 51 player overall, so pretty good for Baltimore that he was still around when they picked him there at 62. PFF graded him as a 71 this past season, and most importantly, did not allow a single sack this past year. Did get called for 4 penalties, did allow 12 hurries and 3 hits. Who was your favorite draft pick from the Baltimore Ravens this season? Let us know in the comment section below. My favorite, just because of the value, I'm going TJ Tampa, but I want to hear from you guys. Let us know who your favorite was. Now, when you move on past those first 2 picks of Wiggins and Rosengarten, who were both very good picks, credit where credit's due to Eric DeCosta and company for what they did in these later rounds. Because let's be honest, one of the things we talked about on this channel was that although you make the splash with your first 2 picks, championships are won based on the value, the players you find in those day 3 selections. What you did on Friday and Saturday, and Eric DeCosta found multiple impact players who should be heavily involved in this Ravens team for years to come. Let's start out with this from Mel Kiper. At right tackle in 2024, edge rusher Adisa Isaac went a full round below where I rated him. By the way, that right tackle was referring to Rosengarten earlier. He had 16 tackles for loss last season and outshined his teammate Chop Robinson on tape, though Isaac doesn't have the same kind of upside as a pass rusher. Wideout Tez Walker and corner TJ Tampa were tremendous picks on day 3. I thought Tampa might end up in round 1 at one point, but there are questions about his recovery speed. Baltimore has had a great history of late-round running backs, and Rasheen Ali could be the next one to make the team. DeCosta did it again in this class. There are some excellent prospects here. It's not quite A tier, though. And that's where I disagree with Mel's grade here. I think with what you did to get starters at the beginning and then find quality talent later on, I believe this was an A draft from the Baltimore Ravens. You took care of all your needs, you found starter quality players, and you found some sneaky good talent later on in the draft, specifically that TJ Tampa pick. I'm going with an A for this draft personally. I don't think B-plus values enough what the Ravens did. Now, going forward, what is your confidence level with the draft in the books, and now we move ahead with the rest of the offseason, free agency's over with? What is your confidence level with the Baltimore Ravens right now? Scale it for me 1 through 10 in the comment section. Let us know what you think. My confidence level is about an 8 right now. The Ravens, I think, when you look at the situation that was dealt to them, the hand that they were dealt, they made the most of this offseason here. With all the guys they lost, you still bring in a guy like Derrick Henry. You load it up in this draft class. Honestly, I think this team's ultimately going to be better than what they were in 2023, which resulted in the best record in the AFC and going to the AFC Championship game. We've talked a lot over the last several weeks that the Baltimore Ravens, their measuring stick is not about the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals. It's not about the Miami Dolphins or the Buffalo Bills. It's about how they stack up with the Kansas City Chiefs. And if the Ravens were to play the Chiefs tomorrow, I would feel much better right now about their chances to beat Kansas City and get to where they want to go. This is a better team than last year's squad, I personally think right now. To recap the Ravens selections of this year's draft class, they include the following: Wiggins, Rosengarden, Isaac, Walker in Tampa, followed by Rasheen Ali, Devin Leary, Nick Samak, and Sanusi Kane were the picks for the Baltimore Ravens. Thanks for joining us here on this edition of Ravens Rundown. Appreciate you being here. As always, subscribe to the channel. Never miss a moment. More coverage throughout the next few days ahead. We got you covered. Lock us in. Subscribe now for free, and we'll see you next time.